We like to think we're the only humans who ever walked the earth. But not long ago, tens of thousands of years, not millions, we shared this planet with others. Some were stronger. Some were smarter in ways we didn't expect. Some left behind only bones. Others left traces in our DNA. 5 human species coexisted at the same time on the same planet. Some met, mingled, and mated. Others vanished in silence. What happened to them? Why are we the only ones left, and what secrets did they take with them? Secrets that might rewrite what it means to be human. Homo sapiens, the survivors. We are Homo sapiens, the last surviving species of a once crowded family tree. We evolved in Africa around 300,000 years ago, with large brains, complex language, and the unique ability to cooperate across generations and in large groups. Unlike other humans, we formed vast social networks that helped us exchange ideas, innovate faster, and survive in nearly every environment, from dry savannas to frozen tundras. We were master storytellers, embedding knowledge into myths, rituals, and cave art long before writing. Around 70,000 years ago, we began our great migration out of Africa, carrying not just tools, but culture, fire, and memory. We arrived with advantages, but the world we stepped into was already taken. Neanderthals, the Ice Age survivalists. Neanderthals were no less human than we are. They emerged in Europe and Western Asia over 400,000 years ago, thriving during some of the harshest Ice Age periods. Their stocky, muscular builds conserved heat. They used the Levallois tool technique, mastered fire, and crafted weapons tough enough to hunt mammoths and woolly rhinoceroses. But they were more than hunters. They buried their dead, decorated their bodies with pigment and feathers, and left behind geometric cave art, some older than anything we made. They likely had spoken language, and they cared for their sick and elderly, showing empathy and bonds beyond survival. Genetically, they're still with us. Most people outside Africa carry up to 2% Neanderthal DNA, influencing everything from immunity to hair texture and even sleep cycles. Denisovans, the ghost humans. The Denisovans are one of the greatest mysteries in human history. They weren't discovered through a skeleton, but through a sliver of DNA extracted from a finger bone in Denisova Cave, Siberia, in 2010. Genetically, they were a distinct species, closer to Neanderthals than to us, but capable of interbreeding with both. Their DNA lives on in modern Melanesians, Aboriginal Australians, and certain Asian populations, contributing traits like dark skin, large teeth, and extraordinary ability to survive in low-oxygen environments. In fact, the EPAS, one gene that helps Tibetans thrive at high altitudes, came from Denisovans. But here's the mystery. We've only found fragments of them. No full skeleton, no face. What did they look like? How far did they spread? Some believe they reached from the Siberian north to the tropical islands of Southeast Asia. Homo floresiensis, the hobbits. In 2003, deep inside Liangbua Cave on the island of Flores, Indonesia, scientists found a skull that stunned the world. It belonged to a fully grown adult, but was only about 3 feet tall with a brain the size of a grapefruit. This was Homo floresiensis, nicknamed the Hobbits. They lived at least 60,000 years ago, possibly over 100,000, on an island with no large predators. Despite their size, they made sophisticated stone tools, hunted pygmy elephants and giant lizards, and may have controlled fire. They were likely the product of island dwarfism, an evolutionary response to isolation and limited resources. But perhaps the strangest detail? Local legends speak of small, hairy forest people called Ebu Gogo who spoke in murmurs and stole food, suggesting these tiny humans may have survived until very recently. Homo luzonensis, the island mystery. In 2019, another surprise emerged from the dark. Homo luzonensis, found in Callao Cave on the Philippine island of Luzon. The fossils, teeth, hand bones, and toes, belong to small-bodied humans who lived at least 50,000 years ago. They displayed a bizarre mix of features: curved toes like ancient tree dwellers, but small jaws and teeth more like modern humans. How did they get to Luzon? The island was never connected to the mainland. The only answer? They must have crossed the sea, perhaps by raft or dugout canoe, tens of thousands of years before we believe such navigation was possible. With so few fossils, their story is still unfolding. But they may not have been alone. Some researchers suspect Luzon was home to multiple hominin lineages, making it a forgotten crossroads of ancient humanity. And there may have been more. We've only scratched the surface of human evolution. Some scientists believe other unknown species still await discovery in Asia's caves and jungles. Far from a lonely march to modernity, our past was crowded, competitive, and deeply connected. So why are we the only ones left?